Hi, fellow traders. I'm going to recap my trades from Thursday and Friday of this past week. Um, kind of ended the week strong. It's kind of what I was looking for at the beginning of the week, and the moves I look for every day. But some days I miss them. Some days they just don't set up. But I'm pretty pleased with the way I ended the week. Still not perfect. I don't think you'll ever be perfect trading, but I think I did pretty good considering how my week started out. Um, on Thursday, I had VRX. It was one of the tickers on my watch, and I was looking at this long because pre-market, it was failing to push this level, but it was still above VWAP. So at 9 o'clock is when I start watching these, and right at 9, it started pushing this level, and it was staying above VWAP, and it was going up. So when we got to open, this candle right here took up all of the trading range I was looking at. So that first 5 minute candle pretty much negated any long trade that I had in my mind. But it did give you an opportunity if you wanted to take, this bounce off the VWAP here on up to, back up to this resistance. But for me and my setup, this the 5 minute opening range breakout, it would have had to break out over this level, which I doubted it would be able to do. And so automatically my thought was, if this thing failed this level, I was going to take it short, on this surge into resistance. And that's pretty much what I got. It failed to push again. Um, it opened and tried to push up, but as it started selling back off, I went ahead and got short. Right here, I think 37.99, and I started covering too early. My first cover should have been right here at the VWAP, but based on the trades that I had early in the week, you know, that was still stuck in my mind. It was noise that I just couldn't filter out. And, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. And in this case, it was a pretty bad thing because there was no reason for me to cover here. It dropped and I got 30 or so cents. I went ahead and covered it, and then I covered some right here just under the VWAP, and this is where I should have made my first cover. And you'll see by covering too early, it hurt me taking advantage of this move down here. So at this point, I only had half my position left. So the 9 right here is where I took my next profit, 37. I didn't take it here because I was waiting for it to, get down here to 37. And I didn't get filled on this candle here when it tapped 37. So I tried it again here. I did get filled and it washed out. And my last target was the 20. And then the reason why I take these is because you don't know if this thing is going to turn around. Most of the time when it's hitting these moving averages, you have traders that are sitting at these moving averages. These are supply and demand zones. So just like the VWAP and just like these daily levels, you're going to have buyers and sellers sitting there. And you don't know who's going to, if it's going to continue to sell off or is it going to get bought up, at that moving average. So I always take profits there, and it's worked out beautifully. And I think it's one of the secrets to, my success is I'm booking profits and I'm not sitting here waiting for this home run. And even when I have a bad trade or a trade doesn't follow through, I've got some profits booked. And those things add up. It may not look good on one trade, but then when you add 3, 4, 5 trades together, it starts to look good. But that was my last cover, and obviously, if I had one more cover, I would have been holding this to see what I could get. And I really don't know where I would have taken profit. Probably right here on this level at the bottom of this deviation band where it crossed this level. That probably would have been where I would have been looking to get profit. I wouldn't have taken it here because I'd have waited to see if it pushed back over to 20 or not. So I know I wouldn't have taken it at this level. I would have waited and probably taken it off somewhere down here. But this cost me a whole point. Covering here for 30 some cents or 31 cents or 32 cents really cost me $1. But I couldn't be mad at myself. I was happy. That was an awesome trade after the week I had, and I just couldn't complain about it. So that started my morning off good, and I kept watching this. I kind of wanted to take it here, off the fail push of the VWAP, but the moving averages were right here. So they really didn't give me that good of a range to get in the stock in case it failed. So, these trades I won't take, even though it's a setup, but you've got these moving averages here. And like I say, you never know what it's going to do. It's a 50-50 chance that it would fade or it would work. And I don't like 50-50 odds. I like to have the odds stacked in my favor as best I can. So I didn't take it. It would have worked out, but I didn't take it. Here's a bounce. But again, no room for me. So, well, actually, this really didn't give me an entry point, is the reason. I was going to take this. And, I was looking at taking it. If I got a candle to close above this level, the next candle I was going to look at, because I figured this would push through to the VWAP. By this not really holding as support, I figured it would probably push through again. This level wouldn't be that strong. But it turns out it was a significant level. It did give pause to the trade. It held its support here, held its resistance here a little bit. So, it did end up being significant. But this candle is what took me out of that trade. And I went to lunch and I kind of missed all of this. So then I started looking for, okay, this is going to fail this level. If it came up and pushed again and failed this level, I'm going to look to take it, under this 9 right here. But somehow I decided, well, I'm going to base this off of the 200. Now that we're down here, if this thing fails to push back over the 200, I'm going to take it short and look to get, cover down here at the the green to red line, this was yesterday's close. So kind of in midstream, I changed my tactics here. Instead of waiting for it to go test, I went ahead and took it, expecting it to fade this 200 moving average. So I did get in here at 37.44, and it did fade a little bit. Wasn't really enough for me to cover, and it got bought back up. So when it failed this, and it failed to hold over the 20, I went ahead and added to it, right here at 37.65, anticipating, the fade again of this 200. I was already in, so it only made sense for me to add. And once I got this fade, I took some off right here at this deviation band. Once it tapped it, I missed the fill here, but I got it here. And for my first profit, stop 34.95. And this was my next one. I got in 34.75. Then I just kind of waited to see what it was going to do. It didn't seem like we were going to lose 34.50. So I went ahead and took some here at 34.50, 34.51. And it seemed like that was kind of the perfect place to cover. This candle is what really got me. It tried to break 50 for like 4 minutes in a row. And when it opened and it couldn't break 50, I went ahead and took it off. It was just what I saw was just a feeling I had and turned out to be the right thing. So VRX was a nice trade for me Thursday. It was the only ticker I traded, the only opportunity I saw that offered me the best risk reward. And that's my number one focus. On Friday, I took GPS. Now GPS was on my scan. Let's see, bring this up. GPS was on my scan. You can see it was the gap down from the previous day. I believe it was on earnings. I can't remember, but it was a big gap down. So it was on my my scan, and I really came close to shorting this pre-market because when it failed this level, I anticipated it to fade, try to make a push up at open, and then sell back off. And I almost shorted pre-market, but I'm just not comfortable doing it. I tried it a couple weeks ago and really wasn't comfortable with how slow or how long it took me to my orders to fill and all of that. So I didn't do it. I just kind of watched it, and it based on this level got a little bounce the 5 minutes right before open. So I had two thoughts. It was going to open and either push up, and if it pushed and held this level, I was going to take it long, looking to cover up here and then go short, with it. But if it opened and it faded, then I'm going to look to take it under this level and maybe, get some profit in here. This window wasn't as large as this window, but I expected it to fade, pretty good and possibly lose this level, possibly lose that one. I really wasn't sure, but I knew that I could get, a nice fade if it opened weak. And that's what it did. It opened weak, so I went to that plan. Took it on a 5 minute, kind of a 5 minute open range breakdown. That's what I was looking for. I did get in a little bit early, but I had all indication that this was going to break down. And the reason why is because it failed to push VWAP. It failed it here, and on this candle, it failed it. And that's really what I was waiting on, for it to fail, VWAP. I could have got in a little bit earlier up here, and just like most people, I'm sitting here thinking, ready to click it. But, I'm the type person where I've got to see a little bit more confirmation. I don't want to guess. So I had a better, more of a better than a 50-50 shot that it was going to break the 5 minute low and then, work for me. So I did get in here, and let's see, I can't remember what I get in. 24.99 is, I think that's what it was. I got in right under 25. And first profit I got right here. I took on this level of support again, not knowing whether this is going to bounce or not. I went ahead and booked some profit here. And, I know it was, 25 cents, 24, 25 cents, but I was in 2,000 shares. So if I'm in that heavy, 25 cents is a nice profit to book, especially when you're dealing, I'm just trying to book profits and make money and put money on the books every day. So, you know, taking 500 shares for 25 cents, that's not a bad little spot to hit. And then I got it again here at 24.51, right under this level. Again, not knowing whether this level is going to hold or not, I went ahead and took profit and kind of held it out and took my third profit here. And I was looking for, at 24.25. I was really looking to get it, in the 24 O's or really at 2024. But it did dip down, but then it kind of got itself bought back up. And I was concerned that it was going to start to, push back up. So I went ahead and took some here at 25. So really wasn't a good fill. I kind of left 10 or 15 cents on the table. And, right here, the lowest it got was 24.04. But went ahead and clicked it there. And then I left the last piece on because this was my ultimate target right here. And it really stayed. I almost took it off because it closed above the 9 here. But the 9 and the 20 were so close together that I just waited to see if it would close above the 20. And it didn't. I still had all the way up here for break even. So it was safe enough for me to, try this. And even if it did close, I would still close it out on the positive side. I wouldn't have given anything back. But it couldn't push it. It faded back, lost the 9 again, and eventually came down and hit my level. I was just a little too impatient there. I clicked it at 23.88. Didn't let it get back down. And really, I could have just followed the 9 all the way down and, down here to the lows and possibly took it off. But this was my target. That was my plan. I just kind of stuck to my plan and wasn't being greedy. So I feel pretty good about the trade. Wouldn't change anything about it. Everything was, I covered everything pretty much according to plan. And in this case, I covered, in quarter lots. I was in 2,000 shares. I took 500, 500, 500, and then the last 500. And if I could get in a stock, 2,000 shares, that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to cover in quarters. If I'm in 1,600, I'll probably do the same thing. 1,200, just depends on how the chart looks. I may cover in quarters or I may cover in thirds. It just depends on the setup and the price action and all of that stuff. But the key is making sure you book profits, because that's going to keep you green on the day. That's going to keep you consistent. And the last thing I want to reiterate, I did a class in the Warrior Pro room Wednesday, and we talked about filtering out the noise. And it just shows you what you can do when you just focus on one stock, focus on one or two setups, and then nail it. And I had 2 bad days, 1 so-so day, and then I had 2 good days where I just focused on the one stock, and I watched it because it was still in play, and I watched it to make multiple moves. Okay, GPS didn't make another move the rest of the day, but it's Friday. You don't really see much after lunch. And, I had a pretty good profit, out of the gate. So just no need to chase stocks. There's no need to chase everything everybody puts up. A lot of times it's just not tradable. It doesn't make sense. There's no setup. And you got a 50-50 chance of making money. And those odds, if you want to be successful in trading long term, you can't trade on those 50-50 odds, because eventually it will bite you and you'll see your account go back to zero or back to where you started from. But that's my 2 cents for today. Those are my trades that ended my week. Um, and that's how my chart looks for April so far. Started out with 2 red days. Um, Wednesday was okay. It wasn't a banner day, but it did get me on the right track. But then Thursday came in. That was my best day. VRX is a it's a volatile stock. It's a good trader if you get the setups. And that Thursday I did get the setups on VRX that I like. I don't really like to trade it that much. I mean, it came up on my watch, on my scans, almost every other day. But unless I really like the chart, I won't even touch it. But it turns out that when I'm patient and I wait for it to set up like I like it to, it always gives me good days. And then Friday, was a good day. Didn't make as much money, but for that one trade, that's perfect. I mean, I am good for two weeks. If I didn't trade at all next week and some of the next week, I'm still good as far as my what I need to make a month at a minimum. So I can't stress enough how important it is to be patient and just let the setups come to you. Now, my setups weren't working Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday for that matter, but then Thursday and Friday it turned around. And as long as you can protect yourself and stick to your risk management to where you only lose a very small amount each day that it doesn't work out, or if you're fortunate, you can make money. Because actually, I think I showed you on these 2 days I could have made money. Easily, I could have made money had I had my entry a little bit better. I wouldn't have stopped out. I would have booked profit, albeit 100, $200, but I wouldn't be red on the day. So I kind of fixed that Wednesday, and moving forward, I think I'll be a little bit better at identifying when I need to go ahead and book profits a little bit earlier, and then kind of move on from there. All right, well, that's it for me. Hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm not sure I don't know if we have free chat Monday or not, but if we do, it ought to be a lot of fun. We'll have to have a bunch of people in, and then we can, hopefully we'll have another banner day. So see you guys on Monday in chat.